You know, I used to think there was only one option when it came to carrying my gear when I went mountain biking. Boy, was I wrong. It wasn't until I was out riding with some new people and I noticed during the course of the ride that not a single one of them was either wearing a backpack or a hip pack or anything that I could tell. And at some point during the ride, I snapped and I asked them, "What are y'all, a bunch of maniacs? Like, none of you have any bags. Where do you keep your stuff?" They all just kind of looked at me and laughed. They thought I was joking. And it got me thinking, you know, maybe things could be different. Maybe they could be better. And to be perfectly honest, my back hurts most of the time. And you throw on one of these backpacks and you load it full of stuff like water and gear and all kinds of who knows what. And it just compounds that, right? It makes me hot. It makes me sweaty. It hurts my back. And it even makes me miserable at times. Maybe I can carry things differently. And I have found all sorts and tried hip packs, smaller backpacks, handlebar bags, frame mounted bags, even this jersey with pockets in the back. This is a good one, but today I wanted to share one of the more interesting storage solutions that I found recently. And it's one of those you're either going to absolutely love or think it's ridiculous and think like, I would never use that. My name is Grant, this is Roo Bike. Let me show you what I found. I had to figure out what my ideal solution for carrying stuff was, and I didn't figure that out until I began to try a bunch of different things. So what I'm after is a simple, small, compact storage device, storage solution, whatever we want to call it, that attaches to the bike. That way it's always there. I don't have to worry about it. It doesn't matter if I wear a backpack that day, a hip pack, a simple jersey with pockets in the back of it. It doesn't matter what I have. I always have the bare essentials. Without any further delay, here it is. The Phoenix Dock Ninja Mountain Box from Pivot Cycles. Now, you can't buy this little beauty on Amazon, unfortunately. You have to go directly to Pivot Cycles' website and buy it, but it's calling itself a versatile storage. Versatile storage, and let me tell you, it is. And what makes it so versatile is where and how you can mount it. It comes with this little tiny mounting plate that you can put anywhere that you have the 2 water bottle screws. It is absolutely fantastic. Let me show you where I put it. This is it. Now, this is probably the most controversial piece of all of this, right? Underneath on your bottom bracket. Are you serious? Why? Isn't it going to get in the way? Isn't it going to get caught up on stuff? Let me cut to a trail ride where I was testing this thing and I tried to get it caught up on stuff to try and answer that question. So, this bad boy meets some step-ups. Nothing big. You would think maybe, right? Let's get a little closer. Your pedal is far more likely and will strike, which it definitely already has today, than that box will. Let's find out. That drop didn't even phase this thing. Let's head out for a ride and see how this thing does. Here we go. Who has a butt pucker? Is enough rallyable. Here we go. This thing just tracks like a drunken wildebeest, you know? Oh, I love it so much. Oh yeah, second time's much easier. Oh, not as many swear words. Let's do a quick summary. This guy surprised me. You know, clearance wise, there's a little bit of mud just because today, you know, it rained like crazy yesterday here. I didn't hit it once. It didn't catch me up once. It didn't rip once. It didn't catch, you know, the clearance for that crank is pretty close. But all in all, it looks a little funky because you're not used to seeing it. But I gotta say, I really like it. And if that wasn't good enough, I tried to set up a scenario where I could catch that thing. Let me show you. It's gonna take basically something like this. Definitely you're losing some ground clearance here. But how much, and to be honest, will you even notice? So, I've got the tape measure of truth. My little obstacle here that I've set up is, well, it is like 15.5 inches tall. Step up, we're cruising. So far, so good. And you are hitting the chain and then it's clearing. What if it's a step up and a step up? You run into that all the time. That's massive. Let's say, for funds, you were able to get your tire clear up here, and now what? You know, it's gonna take basically something like this in order to hit it. But I think the momentum that would be required. All right, sorry. I thought I was gonna be able to prove the angle we could make this thing fail at and the rise, but I guess not. We're just gonna have to keep riding it and find out. I'm cool with that. All right, let's wrap this up so we can get on with our days. This little guy, so far, I am so impressed with it. It's gonna stay on the bike and I'm gonna keep using it, on the bottom bracket, until I figure out what's it gonna take to knock it off, and or it wears itself out because of all the, you know, debris and mud and water and crap that's gonna hit it. So I am super impressed overall with it. Some of the things I don't like and wish were a bit different, I think as far as the profile goes, they got the shape a bit wrong, right? It is it's 2 1/4 deep by about the same 2 1/4 wide. I think they could have gone wider, and in fact I measured from the chain ring, the inside of the chain ring to the inside of the crank arm. You have 4.5 inches there. So even if you were to take this to, you know, 3 inches or 3 1/4 inches, you could completely flatten this out a bit and still get the same internal capacity, and it would make clearance even less of an issue. So that's something I wish were a bit different. How does this compare with other things? Obviously, capacity-wise, there's a huge difference, and they're not meant to be the same thing, right? Hip packs are great if that's your thing. I have not had great luck with them, so this is probably my last choice of things. Other little frame-mounted bags. These actually work pretty well depending on where you put it. I usually put this on the back and strap it onto the seat dropper and the top tube. The only problem with this is I knock it off every time I dismount the bike or I turn in place to talk to my buddies or something. This one, where I mount it, I don't like the clutter up near the stem. So for me, this one's kind of a bummer. I have very little experience with a handlebar bag. The only negative I have to say about this, and I'll do more of a deep dive into it, it rattles and bounces against the cables. So if you're a big fan of a quiet bike, this might annoy you. But to be honest, this is actually a pretty slick way to store stuff. Something I have actually really liked to do is I got myself a much smaller backpack. I think it has 1.5 liters instead of 3-liter water capacity, which is great. The cool thing about it is it allows you to pair it very nicely. Like for example, with this jersey with the pockets, you get the best of both worlds. You get the added, you know, bits and pieces of this, and you can have all of your stuff readily at hand, just thrown into your bag, into the pockets back there, right? So options for days, seriously. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. The greatest thing is you're not stuck with a giant heavy backpack. If your ride calls for it, cool. There are lots of really nice heavy duty They even have armor protection in some of them if that's your bag, right? At any rate, don't be afraid to go out and try new things. For the time being, this is staying on my bike. I have just found a sweet new accessory. So, hope you guys enjoy. My name is Grant, El Roo Bike. Bye.